OpenClaw v2026.4.10 just shipped. There's a bundled Codex Provider, an active memory plugin that auto-pulls context before every reply, and experimental macOS talk mode running local speech on Apple Silicon via MLX. 59 contributors, no breaking changes. This release was cut by Peter Steinberger on April 11, 2026, with contributions from 59 developers beyond the core team. It's the fourth major April release, continuing the accelerated development pace. The three headline features target different parts of the OpenClaw experience: Codex integration for model access, active memory for conversation quality, and local talk mode for voice interaction on macOS. On top of features, there's substantial security hardening across browser sandbox navigation, execution preflights, and plugin dependency scanning. Platform fixes cover Microsoft Teams, WhatsApp reconnection, iMessage self-chat, Windows execution, and improvements across Matrix, Telegram, Discord, and QQBot. And a new Exec Policy CLI command gives users direct control over execution approval policies. No breaking changes. This is a clean upgrade for everyone on the v2026.4.10 line. The Codex Provider is now bundled directly into OpenClaw with a plugin-owned app server harness. Models prefixed with Codex Plus use Codex-managed authentication, native threads, model discovery, and compaction, all handled through the Codex infrastructure, rather than the standard OpenAI provider path. This matters because Codex has its own optimization layer specifically designed for coding tasks, threading context more efficiently across tool calls, automatically discovering which models are available in your account, and handling conversation compaction differently than general-purpose chat interfaces. The compaction is particularly important for long coding sessions, where context window management directly impacts code quality. The OpenAI provider path remains completely unchanged for direct API access. The Codex Provider simply adds another option for teams and individuals who prefer Codex's managed experience with its native threading model. You don't have to choose between them. Both providers work simultaneously within the same OpenClaw installation, and you can route different types of tasks to different providers based on your specific requirements and preferences. Let's look at the release. The changelog is comprehensive, organized by feature additions, security hardening, bug fixes by platform, and contributor acknowledgements. The 59 contributor count is the second highest this month after v2026.4.5's 101. Notable community contributions include active memory from Tak Hoffman, macOS talk mode from Imlukev, Matrix QA infrastructure from Gumadiras, and extensive WhatsApp and iMessage fixes from Nirav Makwana. The release is signed with a verified SSH key, as always. Active Memory is an optional plugin that adds a dedicated memory sub-agent that runs before the main agent even begins formulating its reply to every message you send. This sub-agent automatically pulls in relevant preferences you've expressed in past conversations, contextual details from recent interactions, and historical information that might be relevant to the current question or task. Instead of the agent having to explicitly search memory databases, or you having to remind it of your preferences and past decisions every session, Active Memory proactively loads the right context before the agent even starts thinking about its response. It's the difference between an agent that starts fresh every time and one that walks into the conversation already briefed on who you are and what you've been working on. The plugin supports 3 context modes: message level for lightweight, fast lookups that add minimal latency, recent mode for medium context pulls from your last few sessions, and full mode for comprehensive history retrieval that searches across your entire conversation archive. The verbose command lets you inspect exactly what active memory is pulling in real time, giving you transparency into the context augmentation process. Transcript persistence enables full debugging of the memory sub-agent's decisions. You can see why it chose certain memories over others. This is entirely opt-in. You enable it when you want proactive memory-augmented responses, and disable it when you want lean, fast interactions without the memory pre-processing overhead. Talk mode on macOS gets an experimental local speech provider using MLX, Apple's machine learning framework optimized for Apple Silicon. Instead of sending audio to a cloud API for speech synthesis, the model runs locally on your Mac's neural engine. It includes utterance playback with interruption handling. You can interrupt the agent mid-sentence and it stops cleanly, and falls back to system voices when the local model isn't available. This is early stage, but it shows the direction for fully local voice interaction with OpenClaw. On the CLI side, The new OpenClaw Exec Policy command gives you direct control over execution approval settings. The show subcommand displays your current policy, preset applies standard configurations, and set lets you customize individual settings. This synchronizes requested tool execution config with local approval state, giving you a single command to understand and modify how OpenClaw handles tool execution permissions. Security hardening tightens browser and sandbox navigation defenses across the entire stack with strict SSRF defaults, hostname allow lists, enhanced interaction-driven redirect protection, subframe navigation guards, and CDP discovery hardening for Docker deployments. Exec preflight reads are hardened with host environment deny listing to prevent sensitive variables from leaking into agent tool contexts. Plugin install dependency scanning is improved to catch supply chain risks earlier in the installation process. And sender scope tools by sender policy enforcement adds granular control over which tools are available to which specific message senders. Critical for multi-user deployments, where different users should have different tool access levels. Gmail Watcher token redaction prevents OAuth tokens from appearing in logs. And oversized WebSocket frame handling closes a potential denial of service vector. On the platform side, Microsoft Teams gets restored media downloads for personal DMs, and bot framework conversations with OneDrive and SharePoint shared file support and SSO sign-in callback handling. WhatsApp maintains inbound replies and media across reconnect gaps with queued outbound delivery preservation and fresh retry-eligible sends after socket recovery. iMessage fixes distinguish normal DM from true self-chat using destination caller ID and handle multi-handle self-chat aliases correctly. And Windows execution fixes resolve supervisor wait issues from child exit state and standard out drain problems that were causing CLI hangs in long-running sessions. The LLM idle timeout is extended to 120 seconds for complex tool use chains, and the BTW side question compatibility is fixed after tool use turns, a subtle but important fix for conversational flow. The Dreaming system also gets managed cron reconciliation and narrative subagent idempotence improvements, ensuring dream cycles complete reliably even when interrupted. Standard update flow. Run OpenClaw update, check your version. No breaking changes means no migration steps needed and no config changes required. If you want to try active memory, enable the plugin in your agent settings. It's opt-in, so existing behavior is unchanged until you activate it. For macOS talk mode, ensure you're on Apple Silicon running macOS 15 or later, and enable the experimental local MLX speech provider in your talk mode settings. The system voice fallback ensures you still get voice output even if the local model has issues. The new exec policy command is available immediately for inspecting and configuring your execution approval settings. Useful for teams standardizing their security posture across multiple OpenClaw installations. That's OpenClaw v2026.4.10. Codex integration, active memory that knows you before you speak, and local voice interaction on Apple Silicon. The fourth major April release from 59 contributors, showing no signs of slowing down. Full release notes are in the description. Subscribe to Prism Labs for every OpenClaw release as it drops.